Today, my guest is Trevor Luchuk. He went from prison to protein bars. We are talking food, fitness, business, and everything in between. This is the first episode of the Dine in 519 podcast presented by Sifton Properties. Let's eat, baby. So I feel like people know you for a few different things. You're either the burger guy or the fitness guy, which are two completely contradicting worlds. Tell me a bit about how those come together and how they play a part in your life.
Yeah, so I got into the restaurant space. It's an interesting story, but I worked. I started off in the food distribution space, and then I kind of transferred into the sales world.
Okay,
and I was selling into restaurants. And obviously, I started getting passionate for it. I love, I just love making sure that the best quality products were put into the restaurants, and I was able to be a part of creating great experiences. But I started realizing how toxic the restaurant culture was, and I wanted to have some influence and be able to be involved in some change in some way, shape, or form. And one of my childhood friends had already owned a restaurant at that point in time, which was called Sauce Boss.
Okay.
So I had approached him and I was like, hey, would you have any interest in bringing on a silent partner or whatever, so on and so forth. And that's how I kind of got into the business. I was a silent partner. He had Sauce Boss up and running already in the exact location that Lucky's is currently in.
Okay.
And then he just got to the point where, he felt like he wasn't able to get to the level of success that he wanted for himself. And he was reaching that point of burnout, which most chefs and operators do. So he was like, hey, do you want to buy me out? And this is what it could kind of look like. So I said, fuck yeah, I'm going to take on this challenge. And everything had happened almost at the same time where COVID had hit, and I kind of I lost my job, but I got packaged out. So I had the ability to, and I had the finances to be able to cash flow the business, be able to enhance it and improve what I needed to. And I rebranded it into Lucky's. And now it didn't start off as a burger joint. It was I was selling tacos and sandwiches and chicken wings, but I also wanted to make sure that on this endeavor, I was able to create a culture within the business that would attract people to it.
Okay.
That wouldn't push them away and make them feel like they weren't able to actually achieve anything in life and be a part of something. So I created a concept that would allow every single person who came into the business to be able to attain a piece of it, but also have creative control over the execution.
Which is extremely rare. That's not something that you see very often.
And that's why I think I have such good people. And I have people from all over Waterloo region working at the best spots that want to work there. That are like, hey, I have a list of people who want to work with us, but it's we're such a small spot. Obviously in terms of growth, there's going to be potential for me to bring on other people and to scale the business in that manner. But I wanted to build the foundation for the people that believed in me and my vision from the very beginning. So I'm making sure that I set them up for success and build their future
Your
first.
staff are literally everything. Product aside, who works for you is the biggest piece, I think.
Yeah, and my chef, he's been all around the world. He's from Australia.
Okay.
He was over and trained with an artisan, like a sushi master for 5-6 years.
Okay.
So he understands that world.
Which for a burger joint, a little burger joint, that's pretty cool to have that.
Yeah, I think so, because at the end of the day, if I wanted to do private dinners and speakeasy style stuff, I could do that, right? Because he has the experience in order for me to deliver and offer that. So it's there's so much potential in terms of what I can offer to the customer base. The growth is limitless.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? And for me, it's okay, now I've been able to create a business that doesn't require me being in it 24/7. Whereas when I first started Lucky's, if anybody who remembers, I was the one running out meals to their car. I was the one preparing everything. People would come to the window that were regulars, and I would already know their order and be able to predict what they were going to order before they even communicated. That was the level of detail that I knew in terms of my customers and how consistent they were and how.
Because you're in an incredible competitive industry, and you have to set yourself apart in that way, right?
Yeah, that was exactly it, and that's how Lucky's became what it was. I was I transitioned into something. I had this vision, and I was I want to separate myself out from everybody else in order for me to essentially have no direct competition, but also deliver an experience and something that I really like. And I love burgers.
Yeah.
I'm a burger guy.
I'm a burger fiend. I'm the burger bear. I am the
I
burger
literally
bear.
eat a burger. I always come in and I joke. I'm like, hey guys, it's just quality control, but I eat burgers every day.
Yeah, R&D.
But to your point, like being in the fitness space, I think that you need to be flexible in your lifestyle choices.
Yep.
And I think I've done a really good job at creating like a moderately healthy way because I don't use seed oils. So we use beef tallow in our fryers. We don't use any seed oils. We don't use any preservatives. The beef is grass fed.
Okay.
And like the only thing I would say, like even our buns, like we get them from Grain Harvest up in Waterloo. They're a Dutch bakery. They've been around 100 years. They flash freeze them on the spot. So there's no preservatives in them. And then everything else we make in house.
Incredible.
Everything from every detailed sauce, our mac sauce. Like,
And at that point, the competition becomes a lot less because you're doing this, and no one else is.
and like I've sold into chains. I've sold into like successful like family restaurants. Love you guys, but a lot of what you're using is frozen product.
Yeah.
You're not getting fresh stuff. You're not making it in-house. It has a bunch of spices and a bunch of other crap in it that you can't control. I just don't want to give that to my people.
Here for the community we all love, Kenny Insurance Brokers is proud to support the Dine and 519 podcast, St. Thomas, London, and KennyINS.com. So before business, before burgers, before fitness, tell me a little bit about your life growing up and if you think you've changed much since then.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up was interesting. I grew up in foster homes.
Okay.
So I became like my childhood was pretty tough. Like we lived in like shelters and like food stamps and food banks and things like that.
This was locally or?
No, so I grew up in Oshawa.
Okay. I'm from Lindsay originally. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I was back and forth. My dad, like my family immigrated to Montreal from the Ukraine. And so I was like back and forth between Montreal and Oshawa because they had their own interesting relationship going on. And then I was at it was at 7 years old. It was like 1996.
Yeah.
I got my mom like locked me out, left me in an alley. And then like
Crazy.
one of the neighbors came out on the fire exit and like saw me out there like 3 a.m. and then called CAS.
This was in Oshawa?
Yeah, this is in Oshawa. So, I ended up going into like my first foster home at that age, and it was supposed to be temporary.
Okay.
But there was just like so much abuse going on in the home. Like literally the last visit that I was supposed to have before they sent me back, my stepdad kicked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So like going back to the home, having the mark.
So you had met your mom after that? Like, have you seen her at all?
Well, so my mom passed away when I was 11. Okay. So like when I was in care, she passed away from meningitis.
Yeah.
So that would have been like obviously like 5 years later. I'd already been through like 20 different foster homes. And then finally, because I was so behavioral, it was like, I didn't have a dad. So like nobody taught me how to manage my emotions. And that's what men are there for. I was very like aggressive and would fight all the time and stuff. So they just put me in an all boys home.
Yep.
So now I'm like 10, 11 years old in an all boys home with like 16 plus teenagers.
Yeah. Crazy.
So now I'm just fighting and wrestling even more.
Yeah. 100%.
But I was the only kid in that group home that was able to actually go to like community school and stuff. So I was able to like kind of like start integrating back into society a little bit. But I was a very quiet kid because I never was socialized. I only went to like grade 1, grade 2, and then 6 to 8. So I missed that huge gap because I moved around so much. So I was super quiet. I was like scared to talk to people. Yeah. I was like, I couldn't even order food at a McDonald's.
Crazy.
Like my foster dad, like I'd have to like tug on his sleeve and like he'd kneel down and I'd like communicate what I wanted. Like that. So I was very shy, very quiet. Got bullied until about grade 9. And then I was like 5'6", like 160-pound, little short, little chubby kid.
Really?
Didn't know who I was, like what I wanted in life. Always trying to fit in with every single group. And then the next year, like I grew to like the height I am now, which is like 6'3", and I was like 190 pounds. Then I started, so I started picking on the bullies and getting them back and stuff, right? So,
well, you were probably angry at that point too, right?
Oh, I was. I had so much.
Shit,
I had a lot because I was all pent up years after years. And I never talked to any. Like they put me in therapy all the way up until I was 17.
Yep.
I never spoke a single word in therapy until 17. Really? I finally found that. So there was all those years of like pent up anger, and then it was like. So yeah, high school, I didn't necessarily do well in high school. I didn't really go to classes.
Yeah.
And then it happened. I ended up getting a girl pregnant when I was 17, ended up having my son. So I pretty much just like dropped out of school, obviously to take care of my kid, went into the workforce, whatever, left hockey behind, all that stuff. And then there was like, I was literally like sleeping on the floor in Sick Kids Hospital and could like hardly even afford like Toonie Tuesdays. Like we're talking, I'm making like $7.60 an hour.
Yeah.
So a situation arose where like the guy in the hospital was like, hey, can you get ecstasies? And I was like, might know somebody. Wow, what's up, right? I could probably figure it out. And like that kind of like, that's how I got into the world of like selling drugs and going into that was just to be able to find the way to make money, to be able to support myself and be able to pay for my kid that was on life support in the hospital. He was premature. Yeah, he was born.
You were 17 at this time?
I had just turned 18. He was born a month later, and my kid was like 2 pounds and 13 ounces, like born at the end of the second trimester on life support. So
do you think that adversity is kind of a cheat code in some ways to make people want to be better?
Yeah, I would think so.
If it doesn't break you. You know what I mean?
It doesn't, I think it breaks most people.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, and then they're like left trying to clean up the pieces and trying to figure out who they are and put their life back together. But I think like I would never change everything that happened. Like it prepared me for like me moving from home to home and not having that stability. Having gone into prison, well, now I'm like, now it's a chaotic environment. You're moving from jail to jail, from ranch to ranch. It just prepared me. I was just so used to it. I was like, cool, I'll just pack up my stuff and move here. Like it didn't have any impact on me at all.
So looking back, you kind of consider that a driving force, would you say? What you've been through in life?
Absolutely. I would say I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at now or what I've become or what I've been able to create or even the path that I'm going on if I didn't go through that experience.
Is it a chip on the shoulder type situation or?
No, I would say I don't lead like with ego and I'm pretty like humble.
No,
in
and I don't
sense.
get that sense either.
Yeah. And I like, if anything, especially with my son and the people around me, I just try and communicate and show people like these are the mistakes that I made. Here are the steps that I took in life to be able to change that. And that's kind of how I got into like my coaching business. That's actually like my bread and butter and what I do and what like I find most impactful and what drives me is helping people.
The fitness side of things.
Not even fitness. So I do mindset, fitness and like business coaching.
Okay.
But a lot of it comes from shifting who you are and who you believe you are and your identity and then creating the proper habits and self-beliefs and confidence and all of those things. And I'm a strong believer in the fact that it doesn't matter what area of life it is. Like you have to know who you are. You need to know how you operate, how you handle stress and pressure. And then I believe that all of that comes from going to the gym, eating the right way, developing that resilience and like experiences in life. Because a lot of people victimize themselves. Yep. Absolutely. And I find is like, you don't need to victimize yourself, but you can look at what happened to you. And in every experience in life, there's a lesson. Yep. And that lesson is meant for you to apply to some circumstance, either present or future in your life.
I absolutely agree. And I didn't do well in high school. Same situation, didn't do well in public school, but I didn't care to. And it was the same when I finished school for business marketing. And when I finished school, I got into these corporate positions and they paid well. But I didn't give a shit. I didn't care at all. And I think when I started something that I found helped people and I was passionate about is when I really put myself forward and put my heart into it. And I think you have to do that, especially when you come from trauma. If you're not doing something that you love, it's not going to work out.
No, and that's like fast forward, like going through. I never really had many like jobs like prior to prison. I had more jobs in prison than I did in the street, right? Yeah. So it's like I learned that discipline and also the value of the dollar because like having made a shit ton of money in the streets and then going to making like 80 cents an hour in prison is a fucking drastic change.
So when you work in prison, you are getting paid for that, at least something.
Yeah, they have to for human rights perspective. But like, if I worked 80 hours, I would get paid $69 before taxes biweekly.
Crazy.
Like, you know what I mean? So, but coming out into society and getting my first paycheck, I was like, you know what? It made me appreciate that way more and appreciate like the working man because I was like, now like I've also been able to like go through the discipline of not working for anything and just being like, this is just the way of life and this is how the world is supposed to operate. So
overall, that's obviously a negative experience, but what was the biggest lesson that you learned and took from the prison experience that you think most people will never learn?
I would say like most of the people in there are victimizing themselves based off of their childhood and how they were raised. And instead of me doing so, I looked at that and was just like, I don't want that for my child.
You either fall into it or you grow
exactly,
from it.
Right? 100%. So I was like, the biggest thing that resonated with me was like understanding the concept of a man and a father, right? And realizing how important that is to society. And it's like, if you're in jail, you've failed yourself, your family, and your children. Your job is to provide and protect. You failed, man, if you're in jail. So like, I don't care what ego you want to operate from or how cool you think you are because you committed whatever crime, made whatever money, killed whatever person, and you're in there. You're a failure, man. Simple, right? And that's part of the reason why I really haven't went back to like wanting to offer help to like prison reform and things like that, because I'm kind of on the fence with it. Whereas when I was down there, like I'm in the most heinous prisons. Like we're talking like supermax, maximum security. I'm around a lot of murderers and a lot of people.
This was where was this, in Ontario? Or?
In Ontario,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I was in like Joyceville, Kingston Pen.
How was the food, I have to ask?
Food was shit.
Was it? Okay. I figured in Canada it would be better.
No, man. Like, so in provincial, like when you're in Maplehurst, everybody's on the same amount of food. It's like 1,800 calories. Okay. Grown ass man. Yeah. And it's like most of it is carbohydrates.
At least you're not overeating.
No, but like you're getting diabetes. You know what
Crazy.
I mean? Then the federal system, thank God that you can actually buy your own groceries. So if you're working, you can buy your own food. Usually you'll partner up with like 2 or 3 other people and you'll pool your money together and be able to make some meals. So you can eat decent if you do that. But the meal carts that come up in Ontario, absolute trash. But
run me through an average day.
Food?
Yeah.
In provincial or federal? Or both. We'll say provincial. So provincial is like you wake up, you get an apple juice. So like a plastic bag of apple juice, of milk, a cup of cereal, a little thing of peanut butter, a little thing of jam, and 2 slices of bread. None.
Protein. Crazy.
And then it alternates. It's the same 5-week menu. So for 5 weeks, you're eating the same food, and then it rotates. So I did that for 2 years, eating the exact. So me like eating consistent meal prep in real life, easy. But like, yeah, you could get a cold lunch or a hot lunch, but like sometimes you would literally get like 2 slices of like salami, 2 pieces of bread, and like a sticky bun and an orange. Yeah. And then dinner is like a hot tray of like maybe a cup of pasta and like 2.5 ounces of ground beef. That's a regular day in provincial. Yeah. Federal breakfast would be like, you'd get like 3 eggs, a couple of slices of bacon and a banana. Better. And like you'd have milk on the range, so you could drink like 2 liters of milk if you wanted for that meal. Okay. Lunch would be like goulash and dinner would be like burgers. So a little bit better for sure. Like you're eating more.
Not a Lucky's burger, but a
hell
burger.
No. Yeah. But when I went to British Columbia, they got a maid out there. Like you're getting steak.
I feel like it varies so much by prison, right?
It does because I think in Ontario we have more federal inmates than any other province, right? So there's a smaller budget, I would say, per person. So they also put less into rehabilitation than other provinces. Like British Columbia, they set you up for success. Yeah. Ontario, it's like a system of just creating jobs and warehousing individuals. There's very little rehabilitation happening.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Libro Credit Union, bringing a human element to banking, supporting everyone from families to first-time entrepreneurs. Thank you to Libro. I want to talk a little bit more, obviously, about the restaurant industry. Sure. Owning a burger restaurant and someone that's done it as well. It's probably the most competitive space in food and hospitality outside of maybe pizza. Yep. What was that something that you realized going into it or underestimated, and how have you separated yourself from everybody else?
Yeah, so Lucky's originally it wasn't even a burger joint. I rebranded from Sauce Boss, so like logo, like all the colors, whatever, that all changed. But we used to do tacos. We used to do a burger, and we used to do like chicken wings, like chicken finger, basic shit. But I'm like, I remember sitting outside the restaurant one day during COVID when there was crickets and tumbleweeds blowing down the street, being like, how can I differentiate myself from everybody else down here? I'm like, I want to be able to sell something in my market that nobody else can offer and nobody does as well as me. So I'm looking at, you know, like there's the Zaz Bistros, the Cambridge restaurants, the Firkin, right? All on the strip. And I'm like, they're all like pub style, like family restaurants. It was like, there's no smash burger anywhere in Cambridge. No. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a smash burger. I like smash burgers. It's my favorite type of burger. And I literally just was like, the one thing that I will say my ex-business partner taught me, I asked him, what was the biggest mistake that you made in the business? And he's like, trying to have an item on the menu that pleased everybody. Yeah. And I was like, I like that because now like I want to do what I like, not what anybody else. So I built.
Not that everyone can't like it, but it can be great, but you have to differentiate.
Yeah, but like I don't want like, you know how many people have come in and be like, oh, you got chicken fingers, you got gravy. I'm like, I don't fucking.
We do what we do. We're not here to change for you.
Exactly.
If you like it, you like it. If you don't,
I'm like,
a million other
I can give you recommendations for those places for the best spot. Yeah. It'd be any restaurant on the strip.
100%.
Right. Yeah. So I was just that's what I said to myself is, you know what, I really love burgers. Yeah. I'm just gonna have a really tight menu, and I didn't even look at like the Burger Priest or the Five Guys, no nothing. I just created the concept myself. I picked up the American Burger book, and I built the base of my burgers off that and put my little twist on it. Yeah. And I just did that, and it worked. And
you have a 5-item menu, probably?
I have like my mac and cheese, my fried chicken sandwich, 3 styles of fries, and 5 different burgers.
Crazy.
That's it. All right. And then so it's just like, then I'm like, okay, I got my base. We're now known for doing smash burgers. And I will say 5 other burger joints have opened up since I've done mine. So I'll pat myself on the shoulder for that one.
It's becoming oversaturated, and people say smash burgers are high. I think a smash burger is just genuinely a great way to do a burger. At the end of the day, it's a simple concept, but it's attention to detail, right?
Exactly. It has to be done right. People have to understand. There's a lot of places that say they serve a smash burger, and I get it. And I'm like, I do it to myself everywhere I go. I'm like, I'm going to try their burger. I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? I set myself up for disappointment.
Always.
But there's very few places that will, like, if I'm going to go to like any commercial spot, it'll be Five Guys like that, because they're the only ones that I find do it consistently enough for me to be like, okay, this is a decent burger. Yeah. There's something about that cheap ass bun that they use.
Five Guys is incredible, to be honest. Like, in terms of chains, I think they've done the best job.
Yeah.
And people will say it's expensive, but it separates itself, right?
Absolutely. But it's like expensive, like, to what though? Like, we're not comparing apples to apples, because there's not really anything else comparable out there aside from Burger Priest, and they're very spot on for pricing, right?
I made a video specifically talking about that, the fact that people will complain about a $19 burger, but they don't just look at a bun, a burger. Like, you have to realize there's rent to be paid, there's staff to be paid, there's a million other things you have to pay before you even make a cent off a burger. It's a very low margin business, and I don't think people understand that or even want to understand that before they go in. So
no, they just want to like get the biggest portion possible. They don't care how it was cooked, what type of oil was used. They don't know, like, there are people that appreciate those things. Don't get me wrong. But I'll give you a perfect example. And like also from a health perspective. So like, obviously I'm conscious of that because I'm also.
You're kind of in 2 competing worlds, right? You own a burger restaurant and you're a fitness coach. So
it's like, I want to make sure that like, I think it's okay to have flexible eating, right? Especially like there's ways to make it work, right? But if you're going to eat junk food, you want it to be like the healthiest junk food possible. So I had my portion, and like it's like a 3-hour urban fused bechamel that we use on our mac and cheese and for our supreme fry. Nobody understands the amount of work and effort and attention to detail and the quality of ingredients that go into that. But I made it an 8-ounce portion. Do you know how many carbohydrates are in that? In an 8-ounce portion? It was like 175 grams of carbohydrates. Like that is the average, if not more than the average person's intake that they need in a day. Yeah. And people were complaining about the portion, and I was like, I'm helping you out here, you know? So I increased it to 12 ounces, and then nobody complained, and I kept the price the same and whatever. But that's just a perfect example of somebody not even appreciating the quality of the food and not understanding from the health perspective. Yeah. And like, even if you look at like our portions of fries, now like people don't complain. And like when I show them a small, they're like, oh my God, like, you know, so I'm like, now we are in a good space where we're like, we're doing it the right way. Our portion sizes are good. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's happy, and they understand why the price is the price, because we're leading with service and quality. Okay. Simple.
Tell me a bit about the experience after my visit. This is our first time meeting, but I'd love to hear that, because I usually only see it from the back end, right? I see the shares and all that, but it's nice to be able to meet people and hear a bit about that. So
yeah, so I would say like it wasn't even like, it didn't even just like happen slowly. No. It was like, it never does. You came and it was like the day that you put it out, we noticed like an influx in business, and then it just went balls to the wall after that, right? And it honestly, it has remained the same. There has been, and I was like, I had expected there to be a drop off, because like there's.
I think if the quality is there, and I try to only post what I genuinely love, and obviously some videos hit the algorithm better than others. Of course, and as much as your video did very well, and most of my videos tend to now, it wasn't even on the higher end in performance. Not that it didn't deserve to be. Sometimes things just unfold the way that they do, right? Yeah. So
like so business. I expected like. I told the team, I'm like, listen, it's probably gonna like drop off like after 2 to 3 weeks, right? Which is fine, right? Because obviously we appreciate the exposure and everything. Influxes so I had no expectation of it like staying that long, and like I'm super grateful for it, obviously, right? Because I remember like man, like you've been in the business. I remember days when I first opened, I did like $80 days, man. I didn't spend no money on marketing, no nothing. And it's like shit, you know? I remember the days where I was like, I'd be so grateful to have like a $500 sales day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And now we're like, our average is like 3x that, you know what I mean? And like our overhead's super tight. So like that we're very profitable.
Yep.
Like I know the average margins in the restaurant space are probably like 6 to 8%, but I'm at like closer to 20.
Okay, amazing.
So like my rent there is like $1,600, you know what I mean?
Okay,
And if I ever had to go somewhere else, I would just buy the building and find a way to be able to sublease it out. And like I have the business acumen in order to be able to protect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say like on average business increased by like stable about 25%.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I have 3 to 5 people on average that come in every day that be like, yeah, I saw the Dine 519 reel.
Yep.
Still to this day. And that happened
incredible.
back in June.
Yeah.
We're in the new year now.
It's been
so we're
almost
talking like, it's 5, 6,
and
7
I have
months.
some videos that have hit 4 or 5 million views now, to the point where they're opening up second locations because the waits got too long, to the point where they have to.
Yeah.
And that's the most incredible. That's why I do what I do, and that's what I love to do. So.
Yeah. And like that, and I think it's great because like post-COVID, man, like during COVID, the restaurant business has been slammed, right?
It's been brutal, yeah.
It's been brutal.
But I think there's more of a focus on supporting local than there's ever been. If you love to know what's going on in London, Ontario, you need to check out the My London app from Tourism London, from food to events and everything in between. Download the My London app today. I started this in 2020 because a lot of my favorite restaurants, they've been around 30, 40 years. They were closing down and they can't do it, right? And they didn't really have a lifeline, like government would offer loans or whatever it was, but that was expected to be paid back. They didn't have a lifeline. So I'm like, how can I use my skill set coming from a marketing background and be that? Yeah. And I knew I would grow a brand around that. So
yeah, and I think you've done a really good job at it because you're genuine. Like there's a lot of people online that like sell their souls, and you can tell it's not authentic, but you can watch your content and you can tell that you're delivering authentic.
There's 2 sides to it too, right? There's the people who will post whatever people will pay them to post, and there's the people who go out and they'll shit on everybody that they don't like. And I try to avoid that as well. So I'll drive to Kitchener-Waterloo sometimes, hate a place, and not post it, because I know as much good as I can do, I can have the opposite effect. And as someone that's been involved in the industry, I understand how detrimental that is, and I'm not trying to do that. So
no, yeah, and that's it. Like people don't realize that either. Like in the very beginning, like man, people would like complain about like the lineups and like if there was like something as small. We were actually talking about this with Kristen's mom over lunch today with and it was like one person. I remembered her name and I was like, she ordered no mustard on her burger. Yeah, but bro, she like just like attacked us, like said all these like mean things about the restaurant and stuff. And I'm like, you ate it there. You didn't even say anything. Yeah. So like, you don't understand, like people are building, like paying for, like they're supporting their families off of this. Like give the respect and the common decency to have a conversation and allow them to fix it. It's the only way they can get better.
People will say, I've eaten here 10,000 times. We've always loved it. But today I had a bad experience. Let me write online about it.
Yeah. Blows my mind. That's the most
wild thing to me.
Yeah. And like, I'm super grateful now that like I have a cult following. Yeah. So especially like in the food groups and stuff, where if anybody says anything, like 100 people would jump on them and be like, come on, man. Like, you know, try it the second or third time before you just go or whatever. Like, 100%. And listen, you can't appease everybody's palate. No, that's never going to be the case.
And you're not setting out to do that.
No, I my team is really good. It took me a while to get the right team, but I hired people that were experienced. Like these guys used to run one of the most successful burger priests like in the area. Okay. So they were well ahead of where the business was at. So I knew they were capable of handling the growth of the business. Yeah. So most people don't do that. And I also wanted to make sure I had people that had the experience to run the business so I didn't have to be the product of my own business. Yeah. Because I'm a firm believer that if you're the one that has to make the place operate, you don't have a business, you're the product. And like what happens when you can't be there? So I manage my business on a WhatsApp group. That's it. I'll drop in and do quality testing and I meet them once a week and I let them run the business the way they want to run it. But there's a standard and a structure that has been set.
So you've had a pretty incredible life in a lot of ways, and I want to know what your advice would be to someone who's maybe feeling lost, feeling like they can't get out of that situation that you were once in and have obviously grown from. What would your advice be to them?
I would say you just need to really dig deep and figure out what it is you want in life and who you want to be. Yeah. And start operating from like think forward and be like, okay, what would this person be doing in life? And start doing it today. Yeah. Like we all have places in life where we hit rock bottom and we can be hard on ourselves. But just know that there's no lower that you can go. The only place you can go is up.
Yeah.
You know, as an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter how successful you are, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. As long as you're consistent with your actions and you have a clear vision of where it is you want to be, who you want to be, and where you want to go in life, you can become it. You just have to keep believing in it, and you just have to keep taking that step. And every day is like a reset. Tomorrow's a new day, the day after, and don't worry about what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And just keep taking those steps forward and having that belief in yourself, and just make sure that you're doing everything possible in your life to make sure that you're actually moving forward in the right direction and putting in the work that's required to get the results that you want. It's really that simple.
Let's end it there.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cheers, brother.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you. You guys know I love discovering local places built with intention, and that is exactly why I want to talk about West 5, built by Sifton Properties, who is the title sponsor of this podcast. Their newest Candela building is now leasing, energy efficient, stylish suites. Check them out today, please.